Alrighty, it's that time again. Yes, yes, yes. And here we are. Hey everybody, Steve here. Today, what we're talking about is this stuff up here, testing out multiple cameras with Ecamm Live on the new firmware update. Fingers crossed, for Mac Tahoe 26.1. A little bit of background. I know probably in the United States, I mean here in Korea, it's about 10 to 3 in the afternoon. In the United States, it's probably around 11, 12 o'clock, somewhere around there, midnight-ish. So probably not a lot of people are going to be joining. But with that being said, I wanted to give kind of an update on what's been going on with what we've been doing. And I'm kind of checking out some stuff here to see why we're still having some technical difficulties. So anyway, what I'm using as a camera right now is the Elgato Facecam 4K. So it comes out pretty good. We got a Go Dock light. We got a cheap little side light here. You can see that. And unfortunately, we're not able to zoom in and get closer on that. So I'm not sure why. We got that camera. We come back to this camera. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So we just need a little bit of massaging going on. Okay. Some of the problems that I ended up having was with my Mac Mini. It's a 2023 M2 Apple. Was pretty good. And I had multiple USB webcams plugged into it. And at one time I was able to get 3 cameras working all at the same time. Kind of like what we saw. And then after a while, it just kind of crapped out. Now I'm using the program Ecamm Live, which is obviously a Mac program. It used to be for sale a long time ago. And I had actually bought the program with a lifetime license. Now Ecamm Live is subscription only. So I'm one of the lucky ones that foresaw and said, hey, I really like this program. It's probably going to stick around for a long time. And yeah, they went to subscription service. So that was good. And it was using 3 cameras. But then it wasn't using 3 cameras because there were some updates to the OS in Mac. And then all of a sudden, if you plugged multiple USB webcams in, my Mac Mini just it's got 32 gig RAM. Which shouldn't be a problem because I do all kinds of stuff on here. But it didn't matter how many programs I had open or closed or, shut the computer down, bring it back up. There was always some type of software conflict, it seemed, where you wouldn't be able to get those 3 cameras back. So that kind of pissed me off a little bit. So I took the dive and upgraded to this new OS, Tahoe 26.1. So now what we're ended up seeing is a number of cameras. So we've got the main camera here, which is the Facecam 4K, which is an incredible camera. With a little bit of lighting and some tweaking, it is really a fantastic camera. And I got some lenses for it, but really, I don't really need them. I mean, with the Ecamm software, I can change all of this stuff. So, but usually I set it about right there. So it's a little warm, about 10 saturation. You could do the gamma and kind of burn it out or go in, but that seems to be pretty good about there, about 10 as well. So this works out fabulously. And then the other camera that we have over here is the Logitech Brio. And that's a pretty good camera. And we also have control of that. We can do the brightness and all this stuff. Try to adjust this since we redid some stuff, and I would say that's probably pretty good right there. So we've got a real good view on that camera. And then the other camera that we end up having, the third camera, is the eMet SmartCam Nova 4K. Now, if I plug that one in, you can see that one is not as nice. And part of the reason is because I don't have all the cool lighting over there as I do here. So, I've got some accent lights, as we see back here, we got the blue, we got kind of the oranges coming out from behind the picture. I've got, fill light, key light, fill light, whatever it is. You know, I got a couple of lights that do everything pretty well. And everything's dialed in. With the Ecamm, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the Ecamm link and see if we can't get a little bit of, is that going to work a little bit? Okay, that'll get the backlight compensation. We're just going to lose that a little bit. If we take a look at the contrast, we can kind of drop that or increase that. Saturation, I think we'll keep that about right there. And white balance, I don't know, about 36 right there. So that looks pretty good. And then let me see if we got some other settings on here. In case we're wondering, we can take a look at this, and there's my happy face. So there we have the device, and by doing some simple changes, we're able to see if I do the backlight, yeah, it really kind of washes out everything. So we're not going to do the backlight compensation. And part of the problem is just that light there and the one over there. So I've got a light above me that's shining down, oh, like a halo. And 60 hertz, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Just leave it at 60, brightness. That was just way too bright, so I had to bring it all the way down. EV, I don't even know what EV is. After being locked, corresponding functions will be retained even if the device is powered off. Okay. It's locked, so it should keep. Well, that's pretty good. Holy crow. And we'll see how that looks. I think we'll do that right there. Contrast, we can lift that, drop that to about 75, 74, 75. And then sharpness, saturation, I think we're okay. White balances, I think is all right. So yeah, boom, we got that. Let's check for some. Oh, it's got a new version, of course. That's because I upgraded everything else. So let's go ahead and do that. And that'll upgrade. Okay, that was damn quick. So, hey, hello there, hand pink waving. Chill and Connect One, welcome. We're finally getting all the, with the new Tahoe OS on the Mac, we're able to finally get 3 cameras. So we're trying to dial in the rest of this stuff. So we're just kind of going through here. Nothing really crazy, nothing there, support, personnel, whatever. So that's pretty good. So I think we're pretty good there. And oh, in case you're wondering, this stuff over here is currently, I'm printing out a softbox for my light up here. Because it is, even though it's at 1%, it's still a little rough. So what we're going to do is we made a soft box on here, and so that'll be in 2 parts. So that's printing out there, and then we'll print out the other one there, and those will go together, and then we'll glue them like this one will, if I can get it, come on over here. So it'll basically go like that. And then this will go on the face of the light, and it's in black, so it'll be a soft box. So that's going to be kind of cool. We'll see if that works. I put little hooks on there that you can see, and what I'll able to do is get some rubber bands and put them across the back to hold this soft box, hard soft box, onto my Godock ES45, and hopefully that'll diffuse some light, and I can have a little bit more control. Chill and Connect says, that was the quickest update I've ever seen. I know, right? That was pretty amazing. Chill says, I currently use Mac OS Tahoe 2. Sadly, it adds a liquid glass too. It's not as bad as the iPhone though. Yeah, I'm totally with you. What do I want to get there? I want to get the liquid glass. Honestly, I don't get it. I mean, seriously, it does nothing. It's so, never in my life have I been on my phone where it's like, I really, really have a hankering to just see what is behind the clock right there. Because I'm missing out so much on life because I can't see through the letters on the clock and other stuff. My idea is that Apple had to come up with something to say, we made an improvement, so what are we going to improve? Well, and everybody's scratching their heads and they're like, well, we can't really improve. And so somebody's, handicapped cousin, idiot, brother-in-law or whatever, ended up saying, hey, liquid glass. And it's like, oh, that's snappy. And then they came up with a liquid glass thing, and it's like, I hate it. I really don't like it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, readability is an issue. Chill says makes it harder to see the time. I still need to go online and try to figure out if we can turn that off, because I think that was just a total bust. And I think they did this also because they had the 17 Pro come out, and their Pro 17, which is case was aluminum instead of titanium, like the 16 Pro Max or the 15 Pro Max. I've got the 13 Pro Max. But those things, the current one, the 17 Pro, is made out of aluminum, and you can scratch the crap out of that. It's scratch prone. So I'm not sure what they were thinking. And so in light of all these things, they thought, well, we got to change something. Let's not use titanium anymore. Let's do aluminum, and we'll throw in a new color, pumpkin spice color. And liquid gold or liquid text thing, whatever. We'll do that too, liquid glass. It just failed horribly. So, yeah, I'm keeping my 13 Pro Max. I'm looking at a 15 or maybe a 16 Pro Max, but I got a terabyte on here. It does everything I need. Unfortunately, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when I upgraded so it has the liquid glass, the camera feature on this, on the picture, and especially in the video, when you zoom in, it gets that weird stutter thing. And it's evident on recording videos, which is mostly what I do. But even in pictures, when you're kind of zooming in, it kind of like has a stutter step in it. And it's like, seriously, because it's, of course, when you take a picture and you're zooming in, and it'll do some type of weird adjustment between macro and micro or vice versa or whatever, that's where that little glitch comes in, that little stutter step, and that just pisses me off. So yeah, I really, really don't like that. Let's see what else we got here. I saw on shared screen too, which you were sharing before, the time in the top right is kind of hard to see. Okay, so let me go back to that and we'll see. So this is the desktop. Is this the one you were referring to? How does that turn out? Because I'm not supposed to be super huge on there, but I think that works. Chill says, I personally don't have an iPhone, but I heard the user interface is very confusing. I like Apple products. The old saying, once you go Mac, you never go back. And I don't miss the days of the spinning wheel of death or the blue screen of death with Windows, even though I did just recently buy a Windows laptop because there were some programs that just, they're not on Mac available. So it is what it is. But I'm not a diehard fanboy for Apple. I'll call out the BS, and yeah, the liquid glass is definitely stupid. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, we got Chill's talking about for the camera specifically. Okay, so we got that one. So the one we're talking on is good. That's the desktop view or the paint station view, which looks good. But I think you're referring to this one because, yeah, and this one is supposed to be, let me see if we could do this. Because this is how the paint station one is supposed to look. So I'm going to have to go over here and we'll sit down here and see how this looks. And I know it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can. And let's let's see what we got here. Let me bring up the tablet. I don't want to recap. I want to that one. And so it's got, it's better than what it was. Before it was all whited out, but I just wanted something so if I'm going through and I'm painting some stuff, I want to be able to, you know, kind of throw up a, you know, what I'm doing a little bit, or at least have a shot of my face as I'm painting, and I can kind of show this, or do a top-down view as I'm painting. I haven't decided on if I want to do a top-down view or not. But again, I only got so much lighting, and this is kind of what I'm left with. So hopefully, with the little changes that we ended up making on this, and it's an EMET 4K, Nova 4K, that hopefully it's just enough to see my face. And it's not like, I would need to do some other lighting, like some lighting from here and there, and then maybe an overhead light, kind of like what I got with the other thing there. But I don't know. Tell me, does this look okay? I mean, as far as, you can see the desk and everything, which is good. But as far as the face and the little camera in the top left, I'm kind of doing this video so I can look at it after the fact and kind of see what it looks like. So when you give me your 2 cents on whether it looks good, bad, or indifferent, yeah, that'll help a lot. So, so we might as well show off some stuff. So we've got a Warhammer dude that we're going to, this is 3D printed on the FDM printer, the K2 Plus. So we've got that. I think this guy's going to turn out pretty good. And then we've got another Warhammer. This is resin printed. And so we got this guy here. So we're going to do this guy in Speed Paint 2.0. And I'm pretty excited about this. This is going to turn out pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty involved print there. And of course I, you know, scaled them up from whatever it was, 37 millimeters or whatever. And then I got a little bit of a different character here. This is a dark elf from Redmaker, I think it was. And so we'll do some stuff on this. Now I did a smaller version of this before, but we're going to do some more. We're going to do them bigger this time, and we're going to do the Speed Paint 2.0 on him as well. So that way, just got kind of some stuff going on. Still got a mess, so we're always good on that. But the thing I'm excited about is being able to have 3 cameras. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let's see if we get some comments. Chill says, this looks good. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, so it has been so long, because there was even a time that I had 4 cameras hooked into my Mac, and then with the firmware upgrades to the OS, it just crapped out. It's like there was some kind of conflict between the cameras, and I thought, well, maybe it's because I knew it was an update problem, is what happened. But unfortunately, I thought, well, maybe it updated and it doesn't like the same cameras, you know, multiple of the same cameras. So yeah, I thought that, but then, you know, it was working prior to the update, and it is what it is. Chillin' Connect says, I was referring to user interface in the latest OS camera update. From videos, still looks confusing. Yeah, iOS camera update. I don't know. It seems to be working out pretty good, at least from using Ecamm Live, and that's the software I'm using, that you can plug in your camera sources. And if I do like let me do a little screen capture, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there it is. So on the left-hand side, you can see the 3 types of cameras that I have. You know, the main camera, which is the Elgato Face Cam, the EMET 4K, Nova 4K, in the middle, and on the bottom we have a Logitech Brio. So yeah, it is, that's what I'm using so far. And then Chill and Connect says, are you using your iPhone as a camera? No, I am not in this setup. No, I'm not using it in this setup because, and I tried to do that. Let me see if it pops up. Yeah, it doesn't pop up. So I had problems hooking up my iPhone with Ecamm as a phone, as a camera, and it would work wirelessly. And then sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know, there's still a little bit of a disconnect there. It's not as stable. I was hoping it would be, but unfortunately it's not. So like prior to doing this video, I did a couple tests. I updated to Tahoe 26.1, got everything back up, updated everything, and we're good to go. And then when I brought up Ecamm, it had my phone as one of the available cameras that I could add. And so I was like, okay, add that, and it was working. I was like, hey, that's awesome. And then now it doesn't pop up. So yeah, it is what it is. Just not as seamless as what I would want it to be. Hey, we had Piled 3D here. Hey, he's popping into the show. We're just doing some testing of the emergency broadcast system and doing multiple cameras. So we were going over that. And we were able to get 3 cameras. So that's a bonus because prior to that, I could only do 2. And so with this new Tahoe update, excuse me, with this new update, everything redid and it seems to be working. So I'm keeping the fingers crossed on that. And like I said, some other stuff that we ended up doing, we are printing out a soft box for my key light over here, or fill light, or whatever it is, the light that's right in front of me, because it's a little, it's a little bright, and it's only at 1%. So I want a soft box, you know, with little squares and everything. Usually it's made of cloth, but as you can see here, what it's making is out of PLA, matte PLA from Polymaker, making squares, and I'll put that square grid onto the light so it'll diffuse some of the light. And so yeah, so we're doing that. And like I said, we're printing out one side, we'll print out the other, we'll join those two together. And I also have a head here. That's my head. And I just ran across, as I was doing some pretty wild searching on the interwebs, a tool that can help you scale helmets to your dimensions of your noggin. So yeah. Piled says, switching between a webcam and a phone would be helpful or useful. Yes, it would. Because then I could use that, I could use the phone, and that would show up as a 4th camera. So if I had this like on my, as I'm printing, I could set this up and print. And I think I'm going to make a little stand in Tinkercad, so that way my camera ends up, I can kind of put it on the door as it faces, you know, the glass door, have little hooks or something, so I can do that. But it's not stable. So again, I'd have to play around, because last time I started up Ecamm Live, the phone came up as a camera option. It was working wonderfully, wirelessly. I loved it. It was great. The only problem is that it would kind of zoom in because it's looking for a person, and it kind of zooms in a little bit. And that is very frustrating, so I don't like that. So I think that would be a good one just to have to like view the 3D printing or whatever. But yeah, it would be a pretty cool thing. Chill and Connect says, with Ecamm, can you show all 3 of the cameras at once? What I can do is, so I can switch between these 3 that I have, and then if I wanted to, I could do an overlay. So we could do a camera overlay like this, and I could resize that. And of course, that's the current camera that we have. And then I could put in another camera overlay for the emit. And I could do that, and then I could do another one. So I could do as many camera overlays as I wanted. So yeah, it's a cool program for Mac. I mean, for streaming and everything, I just love it. It is really, really good. And even with the this little camera overlay, what I can end up doing is I can change things to square, I could change it to a squircle, I can change it to a circle, I could change the colors on the border and the border width and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just some really cool stuff that you can end up doing. You could do, you know, little tall things like that. It's really a pretty amazing program. You can change the opacity, as you can see there. We can rotate it to whatever we want. Perspective, we can kind of put like a little tilt on it. That's kind of cool. So it just adds some depth and, I don't know, some panache to things like that. We can add like a little color. We can do a blur. Angle for like a drop shadow. You can see how it's kind of got like a little bit of a drop shadow. So you can see that there, and if we kind of, so yeah, you can do a little drop shadow on that. And just a cool program. Unfortunately, it's not a program you can buy anymore because it is a subscription service. Let me see if I can find out what the subscription is on that. Ecamm Live. And we'll take a look at that. So here's the Ecamm Live. I'll pull this over here. Yeah, I mean, for Mac, it is great. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's an incredible piece of software. But the problem is now there is no lifetime license. So you got like a 14-day trial license. Standard is $16 a month. Pro is $32 a month. So luckily, and they've got monthly or annually, so that can change. Of course, the annual, you save 20%. But I was able to buy this program with a lifetime license before all this stupid subscription fee stuff came out. So yeah, it is. Let's see, we got some comments. Do you have Windows? I have a Windows laptop. So I recently bought one of those because there were some programs that I wanted that weren't out on Mac. And one of those things is Creality Print. Well, let me preface this. Creality Print works on Mac, but the problem is when you import an STL, like 3D printing stuff or resin printing, it won't be able to repair the file. That function can only be done on a Windows machine. So when it pops up in Creality Print and it says that your model needs repaired or fixed or whatever, usually, and it'll, you know, but you can only do it on Windows. So there's part of the reason for that. And then there was another program or two that is only on Windows. So yeah. So we have that. Chill and Connect says, I like the perspective feature. I know, that looks pretty good. Like if we go to the paint station, and where is that perspective? We can kind of turn that. Yeah. I mean, that is a cool little feature. So instead of having everything flat, you can have stuff like that. Maybe I should change that. Maybe red. I think the red looks okay. And then you can change the opacity of it as well. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a cool program. And especially for streaming, because you can just do so much with it. So I really appreciate the Ecamm Live. So yeah. Pile 3D says Bamboo Studio is so much faster on Mac than Windows. Really? Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. Tempting. I only have my Creality K2 Plus, but I'm thinking about getting another printer. And if you watch the stream before, it ends up that I have thought about getting another K2 Plus, which is working great. But larger scale bamboo, like the H2, what is it, H2S, that would be pretty good. But then their Vortex system came out. You can save a little bit of poop, when you do multicolor prints or multi-material prints. But then Bondtech came out with their index system, which they're doing that with Prusa. And so it's like, the bamboo would be good because it's almost basically plug and play, and it gives great prints. Prusa, it's kind of got some issues, but with the Bondtech, holy crow, that would be awesome to have for example, the Core 1L. That would be the one to have. And then when the index system comes out, I don't do multi-material or multicolor, at least not now. But just from that perspective, if you have like 8 heads on there, boom, you have spare parts built into the system. But the problem is with the Prusa is very expensive. They're expensive, that's for sure. Let's see. Piled 3D says the P2S is what you want, if you can afford it. Yeah, and I can afford it. It's just I gotta be careful what I buy because I live in Korea. Piled 3D bamboo can have many more colors, and once they release the splitter, the changes will be a bit faster. Yeah, I mean, and I imagine since Bondtech came out with that coil induction heating system and the tool changer, which is probably you have the Snapmaker U1, which is kind of similar, but Bondtech Index is way superior. Yeah, it is just going to be, I think everybody's going to be running to market for their version of an induction heated head, and the speed at which you change filaments is just incredible on that with the Prusa and the index system. Faster changes. Piled 3D says, doing HueForge more than 24 is needed often. Yeah, but the HueForge stuff looks cool. And I haven't purchased that yet. I'm waiting. I'll probably get that next month. But like I said, maybe I'll get it. I don't do a lot of multicolor printing, so that's why I'm kind of hesitating on that. Piled says, I thought they would be cheap being so close to China. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. Bamboo's kind of like the Apple of the 3D printing world. And then Samsung or Prusa is kind of like Samsung or vice versa or whatever. I don't know. Prusa still has some problems that they need to work through. And you're going to pay more because they are in Europe. It is what it is. Chill and Connect says, I wanted to buy a printer, but then I remembered I don't have any space for it. You don't have any space for a printer? Bro, they got some printers out there that are small. I mean, 256 cube. There's some out there. You can get a little A1 mini or an A1. You got to be, I don't know how much space you have, but I mean, they got some small printers. And if you really want to get into it, you can make some room. Just like, even if it's just like under a desk and then you pull it out and print some stuff and then put it back. There's a guy that I know, he has the A1 mini from Bamboo. It's in his closet, and he has a small closet. So he's got a little shelf, and he's got his A1 there. He's got a little, drawer with some filament, some other stuff down below. So he runs his A1 mini out of his closet, and that's like the bottom half of the closet. And the upper half, he's got clothes hanging off it. So it looks like and it is really small, because it's like his closet door is like maybe 28 inches, and it's maybe like 28 inches, by regular height. And it's got one curtain rod in there, for clothes or whatever. But yeah, he doesn't have much room. But think outside the box there. You could find some room somewhere. Also, says Chill, he says, the space I live is small, but I don't want to breathe in the fumes. That's true. I mean, maybe that's why I'm coughing so much. No. But yeah, you definitely got to take care of the VOCs and everything, whether you're doing resin printing or 3D printing. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I enjoy it. I've just really had a great time printing out miniatures, doing models and things like that. And yeah, it has been good for me since I retired. And since we retired here in Korea, it gives me something to do. And yeah, it's just good. I love it. Let me see if I can find the, because everything restarted. I want to show you all. No, that's not it. That's not it. Piled has got, I still have the, because Piled 3D, we came up and he talked about this Piled 3D CAD multi-tool that you can have on Steam. And it's pay one price, looks really, really useful. But I haven't done Steam yet. The Hue Forge is pretty good. That looks like an amazing little program there, and that's $25 or basically $24. So I'm thinking about getting that. But the other one, Crimson Shadows, Spitfire, no. What was the other one? The head here. I'm trying to find the thing with the head. Where is the head? Because this, if you're into cosplay, this head thing will be good. You will like this head thing. So part of the problems with doing cosplay is that you have to scale the models to yourself. And so I've got a big noggin. I'm 6'2", 260 pounds. My head's a little big. Doesn't have much inside, but it's a little bit big. Bigger than normal. So with that, trying to do a helmet, and where do I have that helmet? I've done some stuff. Oh, it's in the other room. Let me go get it. I'll be right back. So anyway, I still have the wireless mic. But I'll grab this helmet out of the other room. And so this is the Doomslayer Eternal Slayer, whatever helmet that I printed out at 0.2. I'm trying to do some sanding in one of these days. But trying to scale a head up, you got to take your dimensions and whatever. It's kind of like, I hope I'm getting this right. And so there's a little bit of trepidation when printing this out. And, you could do some rudimentary measurements. And thankfully, that one came out well. It's like measure twice, cut once. This was, and you could do some tricks with your slicing program to kind of slice like the entrance of the helmet, like you could cut a slice this way. And so that you get this ring, and then if it fits over your head, you could print that out to make sure that you could fit your head in there and so on and so forth. But I found a tool that is way nicer. And let me see, where is it?
This is an ad letting you know that Framer.
No, I don't want to do the audio. So let's take a look at this. I want to show you this. So this guy here, White Space Props, got the orange and everything, that he made a tool to size 3D printed helmets, finally. And so what he ends up doing is he goes through and he talks about this page. And there's a link in the description box, and we'll go over the website. But he talks about measuring your noggin, for the width and the length and so on and so forth. And then going on and using this program, and it makes a model of your head based off of those measurements. So you go here, and yeah, basically he ends up just kind of going through and talking about, hey, here it is. You could put a helmet on there, and you can kind of see how the helmet fits or does not fit or whatever. And it is a pretty amazing. So there's the basic little, I don't know, the basic little head that you got there. And we have a head preview, we have a helmet fit and a ring. But if we go over here to the right, what we end up seeing is you could do the width of your head, you could do the length of your head, and then you could do the height of your head, and you could just print out some calipers, or, you know, like he ended up saying, you could put a couple of books on a desk and put your head in between and pull your head out and then measure the distance between. So you can adjust this to, you know, whatever it is. I think, and you can use the slider. You can see how the head gets bigger or smaller or whatever. I can't remember. It's like 120 or whatever. So anyway, upload custom head scan. And I saved that, but I don't know where I put it. Interesting. So documents? No. Downloads? No. Head reference STL. I don't know. Was it an STL? I'm not sure if it was. Let's try that. I think it was. Custom head adjustments. So anyway, you can save it, and it ends up, so there's my unusual dimensions, 215 by 231 by 307 or whatever, or outside the head range. Okay, so that was, okay, I know what I did wrong. Seriously, let's go ahead and redo this again. Blah, blah, blah. We'll just do male, 129. Okay. So anyway, don't you love live videos? So let's go this way. So we've got that, and features, trash software. That's not it. Oh, what we're looking for is Doom Slayer. Helmet and armor. And there's that stupid liquid glass thing again. Seriously? Look at that. I hate that. And then what we can end up doing is if we go to helmet fit, we can drag that file into this here. So we'll take our assembled helmet, and we'll drag this in here and drop that in, and boom, check that out. So what we can end up seeing is, I mean, that's a huge, and that's obviously a smaller head than, so you can transform the helmet size as far as the overall size, or the X, Y, and Z, and all that stuff. But if I go back to here for my head, and we'll just increase whatever, because I think this was like 105. I think that was like 100 and whatever. I don't know. That's close to whatever it was. So if we go to the helmet fit, and what you can end up doing is seeing that how the head fits in here. Now the cool thing about this is you can go down and you can go to this section view, click that, and you rotate this around and you can see how much room you have in the helmet. So that's on the x-axis, that's the y-axis. So you can really fine tune, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out of, you know, if we take the slider, and we can adjust that as well. So we can kind of look at that and get some other views on this. Same thing with this. We can go ahead and we can slide this back and forth to kind of get the views of all of that. So a pretty ingenious program there. So yeah, I mean, just pretty wild. And then if you do the ring, I think what happens is that it's able to do something. I haven't been able to get the ring to work. So I'm not sure what that does. I think it takes a section of the helmet to see if you can put it on. But as far as this right here, I mean, it is just pretty wild. So you could remove the helmet and do that. If we go back to the head preview, where's the other thing it is? Quick presets, average, large, whatever. And then you can download the STL file of your measured head. So that's what I was talking about here on Creality Print. This is the measurements for my head. So we have a mock-up of my head. So if I go through and say, for example, we get this Doomslayer helmet and we bring this in, and we will change the color on this just so that way we get a little bit of a different color, and we can bring that in here and we can kind of get an idea of how that would work. Let's just make this one the current window. So again, you can go through, and then with your slicing program, what you can end up doing, yes, I know, it's over outside of the whatever. But you could use your slider and you could look through and you could see where everything is on this as you go through, and you could see how much room you have in your helmet and whether it's too big or it's too small, or you're going to have some problems. Like right here, we can see where these little edges here are going to be cutting into the head. So that's why we have some extra room. And then you want to leave a little bit of extra room for padding as well. So, but other than that, I mean, it's just a really handy program. And I mean, it's pretty good. I think that is really, really good. And if it ends up, if they could do a program like that for sizing armor for cosplay, holy crow, that will be the bomb. So, Jim Connect was when we were talking about the closet. He was talking about the H2S, looking at the H2S before concerned about fumes. Yeah, the H2S looks pretty nice, and Bamboo's got some real good machines. I got the K2 Plus because I wanted a little bit bigger build area, a little bit less expensive, and I didn't like some of the stuff that Bamboo had done at that time. And yeah, but yeah. Pod 3D says, cool, weird, it doesn't have thickness in section mode. Yeah, I know, it's kind of an odd thing, but he's tweaking it and making changes and upgrading it, and it's free. So that's the cool thing. So let me pull up that. No, not that. Doomslayer helmet and armor. No, not that. There it is, Ref Maker. So let me go ahead and pop this into the comments. So that's the website for that. But I mean, it's pretty cool that it's free. I mean, that's the cool thing. This thing here is free. So, you know, support RefMaker. I donated a little bit off of PayPal, and if you get something out of this and stuff like that, I mean, it just looks really good. Tilt, we can do some rotation. Oh, so we can rotate it around, which is nice. And then what we could end up doing is we could change the, oh, okay, so we got the movement controls there. And of course the height. Oh, nice. I didn't even know you could do that. So you could change the height and everything. Oh yeah, that's going to look good. That is a nice, I like that program. Yeah, it's a neat viewer. I like that. So yeah, and for free. You can't beat free. So I've already like I said, I've already sized my head. You can download the head model into your slicing program. So if you're ever doing a helmet, you have that reference of your head with the dimensions that you did, and that's just that extra warm fuzzy that you get with that. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And then let's see what else. Was there something else? No, that's what we got going on. So yeah, that's what we got going on. So doing all that stuff. Yeah, going back to a second printer though, I am looking at getting a second printer, and the H2S is something that I'm looking at. I have a whole nother bedroom, spare bedroom, that I have my resin printer, my K2 Plus, my paint station, and the fumes can get a little, but I vent everything out through, filter, and then outside, and everything's good to go. But yeah, it's looking to get another printer. The H2S is kind of like, Bamboo's got some great stuff. They do some great printing. And aside from them locking down their system and having access to everything on your network, basically. But then again, people are saying, well, Bamboo ends up that they got to, China, the Chinese government has to report everything that Bamboo does. So if they want, what you've been printing and your log files, which, what is it, Grant from 3D Musketeers, the printing dude, it ends up, where Bamboo said, we would never transmit these files via the log files. And a few days later, Grant and some people, they were able to get into the log files, and Bamboo had lied 100%. And even worse, they showed more of what was being transmitted to the servers at Bamboo. So yeah, if the Chinese government says, hey, give over the information of all your customers, they have to do it. And so I didn't really like that. And them trying to gaslight, Bamboo trying to gaslight everybody that, we're closing down our system, and you have to be hooked up to the internet. You have to get authorization to use your machine, and so on and so forth, for your safety and security. That's a total BS, because they were saying, we get millions of hits a day on the servers. Well, that's your servers. That's not, I've never had somebody, there's no record of anybody having their Bamboo machines or any other 3D printing machines hacked, and in the middle of the night, somebody just went wild printing benchies unbeknownst to the owner, and wake up in the morning and there's a million bunchies, on their machine. So yeah, it's, I was that really put a bad taste in my mouth. And with some of my experience in electronics and things like that, and working in secure areas, and yeah, it was like, ooh, yeah, I don't like that. But then again, let's flip that same coin over to Creality. Creality is a Chinese company, so but they're more open source-ish. But if the Chinese government said, hey, give us all the information and all the log files and all that, and all the camera feeds and all the history of everything that everybody has ever printed, along with your network identification and so on and so forth, Creality's got to turn that stuff over to the Chinese government, as with any other Chinese company, which is the majority of 3D printers. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other? Or do you just say, screw it, I just want to have fun printing stuff? And, who cares? I'm kind of torn between the two. So, but then I got a Creality, so I'm not that much torn. It just pissed me off that Bamboo lied about the log files and other stuff. But, yeah. Piled 3D says it's not even that locked. That's true. Creality will be just as bad. Yeah, because they're a Chinese company. And again, if the government, if they say give it up, they got to give it up. Matter of fact, if there have been reports of the Chinese where it ends up that people that live in the United States and governments, or not government, but employees, hey, you're in the United States, you got to give this, and you're still a Chinese citizen. Yeah, there's some weird reports coming in. So yeah, not all Chinese people are bad. I'm not saying that. I've met some good people, just like there's good people everywhere. But then you got some bad apples as well. So I just tend to take people one-on-one. But again, with my electronics background and things like that, and working in the Department of Corrections in the state of Colorado for over 11 years, and we had to protect chain of custody for audio and video within prisons. And so, we were very concerned, and we had to oversee any programs that we use. It ends up that you couldn't have access. There could be no outside access to any of this, because that would break the chain of custody. So yeah, it was, and we would test things and we would try to hack into things and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why I kind of got it. And then I worked as a ComSec custodian, communication security for codes and secret stuff for the military when I was in the military. And so yeah, there's some of that. Let's see. One Bridge 11, welcome to the show. Thank you. He says, are you a fan of the Critical Drinker? Funny that you should mention that. I recently was exposed to the Critical Drinker, and I am a fan. He's pretty good. I enjoy his shows, and a lot of his viewpoints on movies and shows and how they all suck now are pretty much the same as mine, except he's a little bit more eloquent. He's got it down to an art form. But yeah, I love the Critical Drinker. And I think I've seen him in the last maybe 2-3 weeks. Oh yeah, he's got some wild stuff. He's great, you know. Just shows how far movies and TV and how the message, we all have to bow down to the message. So, yeah, people can't tell stories anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I love the Critical Drinker. Pretty good. Let's see, what else can I end up doing? So we got the 3 cameras. We did that. Oh, we did the, on previous videos, I made a picture frame, and then I put the Ivor character jumping out of the picture frame. So that turned out pretty good. And this was, so you could get any character, download, it could be a free character, it could be a paid character, whatever it is. You find a free frame as a separate STL and you can kind of mash them together. I did a video on that and that turned out pretty good. And I recently, let me see if I got this, I did another version of that for this Warhammer going through the Stargate. And so it's kind of cut off on the back there. And then as he's coming through, obviously he's oversized and everything. But yeah, so a little stand there, or I could hang it on the wall or something like that. Again, I was just kind of playing around and I saw how people had made like Pokemon cards, you know, with the characters jumping off the card in 3D fashion, kind of like that. And then I was like, hey, should be able to do that. And you can do it on your slicing program. Pretty easy. And yeah, tried the Viking and the frame there. Boom, came out great. Did a little bit of primer on that. Did another one with the Stargate. Came out really nice. Came out really nice. One Bridge 11 says, I hope you'll be on the open bar one day. The open bar. Oh, is that where he does the, they got a bunch of other people involved in all that stuff? I've watched some of those. Not too many of them. I'm more into his, you know, why did this movie bomb? And then gives you all the obvious reasons on why it bombed. I like those. But, oh, thank you for the compliment, though. Yeah. Piled 3D says those came out well. Yeah, they did. And that just brings in a whole slew of other ideas. For those of you who don't know, I like Marvel characters. I like the Hulk. So when you see like the Hulk coming through a wall, all the Hulk STLs that are out there, you could have them coming through the picture frame, and then you could, if depending on how big the frame is, you could actually have a picture in the back. So like for this one, I printed up the portal for Stargate, and so once this guy gets all painted up, and then you have the portal in the back, and you could either hang this up, you know, or have it on the little stand. That would be pretty cool. It's got the old Chaplain helmet there on him and stuff. I mean, this is going to be a cool paint job. That is going to be really, really nice. So yeah, we're gonna do some painting and stuff like that. But those turned out really, really nice. I really enjoyed them. So we got that going on, but I'm really excited about being able to get the 3 cameras into my Mac. So we got the main one with the face cam, Elgato 4K. We've got the EMIT Smart Cam, so when I'm at the desk doing, the painting and stuff like that, which is basically it'll be like that, and we'll be able to see my shining face and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm glad it was finally able to get 3 cameras hooked up. And I don't know if I got any other spots. I got 1, 2, 3. I've got the connection for my wireless plugged into a USB. And what is this one? Oh, okay, well that's that one. I don't know if I have any other USB slots open. So, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll upgrade my Mac and I'll get a studio. A Mac Studio, which would be something that I've been interested in, but that's expensive as well. And I'm trying to save up for another printer. So it's either going to be a K2 Plus. I would like to get the Core 1L with the possibility, with the index system coming out, next year, obviously, with that, to be able to have like 6 or 8 different heads on there with the induction heating. I think that would just be cool. But it's going to cost a chunk. And since I live in Korea and retired here, I got to pay a VAT tax. So I get a little bit extra ding on the bill there. So, yeah. I'm going to buy once, cry once. But I don't know if the Core 1L is going to be, if I want to spend that much money or just get a K2 Plus without a CFS and pay like, what, $900 or something like that? Piled CAD can run on Mac if installed with VMware or Parallels. Oh, okay. That would be interesting. For those of you who don't know, Parallels is a program that you can kind of emulate a Windows machine on your Mac. And I haven't looked in that in a minute. So let's take a look at that. In case you're wondering, people send me stuff and give me ideas or, hey, check this out or whatever, and I go do that. I check it out, and some stuff I buy, some stuff I don't. So run Windows on any Mac, Intel or Apple, and which is pretty good. That would be nice. But the price, what is the price? That's the kicker. Oh no. And it's in won. So standard is, how do I change that to be English? And why is it in won? Well, it's in won because I'm in Korea. And if I change I can't do my VPN because it'll mess up the stream. Oh, it does have one-time purchase. Okay, well that's better. Parallels Desktop Pro Edition, power users, subscription, one-time purchase. So it's only for the standard edition. So it will do run Windows and Windows applications, Linux and Mac OS in a virtual machine, access to Windows, Excel features on Mac, and I think, well, that wouldn't be bad. 155,000 won. 155,000. Divided by exchange rate is about 1470, so it's going to be just over $100. That wouldn't be too bad. Upgrade, no, students. I'm not a student. So if it's a one-time purchase, I don't mind one-time purchases. But that whole subscription thing, I hate that. Good Lord, I hate that. Let's see. Piled says, I got a MacBook M1 Pro recently, and it is just better than Windows when software can run on it. That's true. VMware is free, but slightly less reliable. VMware. VMware. Okay, my Broadcom. And maybe that's not it. I don't think that's it. Products. Let's look at the products. I don't think that's it. But the parallels is something that seems to be pretty good. And so let's see, what can we do on the standard? Maximum RAM CPUs, 8. It should be good enough. Because the only programs I would use on a Mac would be like Reality Print, maybe like Armorsmith, or some similar type. Galactic Armory, matter of fact, is coming up with an armor sizing cosplay program, and that's going to be Windows first. They're thinking about doing the Mac version, but that's going to be later. So we'll do that. 3D acceleration, run thousands of Windows on a Mac. Yep. Advanced, pretty much. I don't think we need to worry about that. So yeah, this might be good. Pro version, I don't think it's... I wish I had a lifetime license for Pro version. But the standard, I think that could work. And for, excuse me, 105 bucks, that's not bad. So yeah, parallels might be a thing. And yeah, I used to be Windows, but that was way back in the day. It is way, way back in the day. I just got tired of the blue screen of death and all of that stuff. VMware. Dun, dun, dun. VMware. Mac. Windows emulator. Fusion and Workstation, blah, blah. So Fusion and Workstation, develop and test any platform with VMware desktop. Okay, so I guess that was it, by Broadcom. I don't know, I'll have to look into that and check that out. Well, thanks, man, for the that information. I knew about the parallels. I didn't know about the other one. So cool. Okay. Alrighty. Neat. Parallels. I thought all of those were just subscription based. So yeah, I might do that. I might do the parallels, so that way I can get at least the Creality Print, and then like the Armorsmith. There's also Pepakura for doing Pepakura files. For those of you who don't know, you can make cosplay armor out of EVA foam, and the program that they use is called Pepakura. And you can also do paper and cardboard, and it's a whole thing, but it ends up that only runs on Windows. So that was another reason why I ended up getting the Inspire, whatever, Windows 11 laptop that I got for that. And then there was some other stuff too that the Mac just doesn't do. So, but it's good to know, because now this might be a good Christmas gift. Speaking of Christmas, does anybody know what they're going to be getting for Christmas? Y'all do Christmas? I'm old enough that we don't really do. I don't know. Piled says, I use parallels for piled a lot of the time. And that's the stuff he was talking about. No, that's the printer. Printer is still printing. We got about 14 minutes left. No? Got about an hour and 14. No, it looks almost done. I don't know what it is with Creality Print. It ends up that the time estimation when you do your slicing of the plate, and it says like X amount of hours is going to take to print this thing, this model that you're doing, I've noticed that then there's been a huge discrepancy between the estimated time and the actual time, and it's usually way overshot. So, But Pilot talks about using parallels with the CAD program that he came up with. So this is the Pilot 3D CAD multi-tool, and it's just got some ungodly amount of tools that you can do. You see the little video there, but you can make boxes, and you can. It looks very user intuitive, and it looks easy to use, which is something I need. It has to be simple, so I would appreciate that. But yeah, be able to make some paint racks and stuff like that, because usually what I ended up doing is using Tinkercad and kind of fumble my way through that, barely scraping by on the Tinkercad thing. But this would have been a good tool to have if you want to make a customized drawer, container, whatever stuff, shelf. I mean, look at that. It's got all kinds of, let me show you. Since you're probably wondering, what the hell does it look like? It's that right there. And let me just throw this link up there too. So there's that link. So yeah, I mean, it's just got a whole bunch of stuff that you can end up doing and using that for. So, I mean, it's just, it's pretty impressive. And then it also does the QR codes, I think that's a lithophane, do some ductwork, which I need to do. Matter of fact, I was just watching a Tinkercad video on how to make some ductwork, kind of like that, so that's interesting. And then I think there's that, little dividers or separators that you can end up making, shelves, boxes, tool hangers, whatever. Looks like a pretty cool little system there. So yeah, it takes a lot of the guesswork out, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you want to do something. And there's an IKEA little board there, I think that is. But I mean, look at that. You could do all this stuff with this Pilot 3D. So Pilot says that was a terrain depth map, but it does lithophanes too. Wow. So you could do your own little Dungeons and Dragons or Middle Earth map or whatever it is, game maps, and print those out. And that colored vase is a slicer tool. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, cable clips, stuff like that. It's got a lot of cool little things on there. And a Gridfinity. If I'm not mistaken, it does Gridfinity. Shapes and colors, shapes and colors. So yeah, I mean, just see what else has it got. So I think it's got, yeah, the Gridfinity or whatever, you could end up doing that. That looks, man, you put a lot of work into that, bro. That looks really good. So yeah, I don't know, I've never used Steam, open up a desktop app. I'll have to take a look at that. And it's 37,500,000 won. 37,500 won divided by 1470. So 25 bucks. That ain't bad at all. Ain't bad at all. So yeah, and I haven't installed Steam because I haven't used it. But yeah, that looks pretty good. And then the HueForge, that looks interesting as well. And that's the Crimson Sword that I'm printing out from Maker World. So I downloaded that. I just finished painting the red and the black. I just finished the clear coat on those. And the pommel, the hilt on that right there. I painted the red, so that's done. I got to take the tape off and do the black, and then I'll be able to assemble that bad boy. So that should turn out pretty good. So I'm really looking forward to that. As a matter of fact, even on the, if you look over here, see that right there? That's the hanger for the sword. So that'll have a prominent place within the studio. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Pilot 3D talks about his little CAD thing there. The trailer is out of date. It only shows about a quarter of the options that you have. which is amazing. So he's still putting more stuff onto it. So yeah, check that out. That is pretty amazing. So let's see, what else do we got going on? Splitter program, that was another one. This is one that I just purchased, and I'm still playing around with this. And this is one of the programs that is on Windows. So if I get Parallels, I can put it on my Mac as well. But this splitter program, and basically what it is, let's say you're doing a 3D print of the Hulk or something huge, a big life-size figure, Pikachu or whatever it is, I don't know, whatever blows your hair back. And obviously the print beds are too small, so you need to cut up that huge model, life-size model, into smaller parts that will fit your printer. Well, that's what Splitter does. And Luban is a company that has pretty much cornered the market on doing that, but they have like 1980s user interface. And the Splitter program, it's still in the beta, but if we take a look at this, the user interface is so much nicer. And it ends up as like, what is it, 110 bucks or something like that, and a lifetime license. And this looks really good. So I've been playing around with this. And basically it comes down to three things. You import your model, you can print size with scale, you can do auto shell for lighter parts, you can pre-split it so you can see the different sections as it breaks the model up into smaller pieces, and then you have different connection types and so on and so forth, and then it splits it, and then it takes all those pieces, and it also labels them. And this one has got the shell, so they have a shell version, so that way everything is just not one big solid block of, material. You can actually save some money on doing that. And that was like $55. It's like 60 euros, but it's like $55. And then the 95, I think it came out like $110. And that's a lifetime license for all of these things. So I've been playing around. It's still a little quirky, need some work on it, but it's definitely more intuitive than Luban. And for those of you who are wondering about Luban, if you're wondering about the user interface with Luban, boom, there that is. That's Luban. Look at the icons on the top. That's from the 1970s. Good Lord. It is just, and you can open, we did something on this. Let me see. I think we can drag and drop. Let's do Ivor. And we'll throw Ivor into here. And it used to be a 32 millimeter, but boom. So there we got that. So there's our Ivor. It looks pretty cool, and that's our Z and whatever. So anyway, pretty cool little program, but when you go up here, it's like, it doesn't make sense. And you have to there's a learning curve to learn how to do this. And I talked about this before. So you got save, you've got, what is that? Data receiver, show and hide axis, whoop-de-doo, light source, whatever. You could change the colors in the display, and then, what's that? X, you can see the different, whatever. I don't know. It just didn't really make a lot of sense to me, because it's like, I want to split the model. So you got to go up to the top, and there it is. And so you got your file system, your options. So file, create, export, whatever. It's not that. It's not batch. It's none of that there. And then edit, it's none of that there. View, it's none of those options. When you get to mesh, you actually have to go to cut, and then, okay, we get that. Yeah, we'll do it in millimeters or whatever. But now is where it comes up and it actually starts making sense. But and then you can do, it has planar cut, conic, grid, radial. But when you hover over these things, it gives no explanation whatsoever. So it's kind of like, well, if we do a radial cut, That's kind of a weird, and then the way that'd be a real weird way to do your model. So I don't know why anybody would want to do that. Then you have a modular cut. No, we don't want that. So I guess we go back to grid. You go conical. No, that's not what we want. You know, but there's planar cut. We all understand what planar cut is. But again, there's no explanation on this stuff. So the number of sections, adjust your plane. Well, what about my, you know, my printer? What is my bed size? You know, how do you figure that out? That's the model size there for your input, the cutting plane. You can increase the number of sections, which is cool. But, you know, and the same thing here, you can increase your X, Y, and Z. And then the same thing, you can increase those things. But the problem is, it's like, well, where's the thing to show that my printer is 350 by 350 by 350? So, you know, and you go up here, is like mesh, is it Luban? Is that it? We hit that? No, we're back down to that, so it's not that. So you got to go back to mesh, and then you got to go back to cut. But then, you see what I'm saying? It's just not user intuitive at all. Object, draw, we don't want to draw, window. I mean, where's the part? This should be a populated window right here, where that window should always be there, in my opinion, on this left-hand side. That should always be there. And then there should be a part of where you can put your, you know, your printer dimensions for your build area and put those in there. But I don't see where that's at. I mean, it's somewhere. Basically, you got to read the directions or watch a video to figure out how to use this. And yeah, it's just, it just pisses me off. Luban slicer. I don't know, is it slicer? Okay, here, so it's under slicer. So the printer, so we're doing a printer, and then we're doing a rectangle. So let's say we'll do 340 by 340 by 340. I know mine is 350 by 350, or 350 cubed, but I just want to have a little wiggle room. So, and then you can slice. Large mess is available on licensed computers only. Okay, whatever. But this option here should be on the same thing as when you do this one. It should be, we got an empty space there. That should be the place where you put in the dimensions of the build area of your printer. I don't understand why they don't do that. It doesn't make sense. You know, and if we end up, you know, dowel, plug, whatever, you know, that's kind of self-explanatory. We understand that. And then you can cut everything up, and then, but it's just not, good Lord, seriously, it's pissing me off. It's just not. Whereas the splitter program, it's more intuitive. It's easier to see, oh, I need to do this, and, you know, pre-slice, slice, cut, whatever. You can set the dimensions of your printer and all that on the program. Let me see if we can find it. So it just, I don't know. But then there's still some tweaks that Splitter needs to do as well, that need to be improved on as well. So yeah. Anyway, let's see. Pilot 3D says, I added the option recently so you can always have a bounding box of your printer size. Okay, cool. Again, things that make sense. That makes sense. Make it readily apparent of, you know, at least give you an idea. But with Luban, when that first screen pops up, it's like, and you run your cursor across the top, nothing pops out and says, well, this is the next step. There's no logical sequence in, okay, open this, that, printer, set printer build area. There's none of that. It's just like whoever put it together was not thinking about making it easy for users. So it was like, seriously, pissing me off. So yeah, I decided to do the splitter program, and since I have a lifetime license with that, as they continue to make improvements, you get a lifetime license, but it's good for updates and fixes for 2 years. So you have the program for life, but you only get 2 years worth of updates. So hopefully within the next 2 years, they'll get everything sorted out and we'll get some cool features on there and it'll be good to go. So I'm crossing my fingers with that. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, yeah, that's what we got going on. Let's see what else we got. So the Windows thing we got, the cameras are still working. So we still got our 3 different views. So I'm super stoked about that. Hopefully it'll continue. And that's with the new Tahoe thing. So I might have to get parallels. And then if I get parallels, I'm still waiting for Galactic Armory to come out with their armor scaling program that is similar to ArmorSmith, which is, I guess, no longer being, I guess nobody's doing it anymore. There's no more upgrades or anything. It's just like, at least that's what one guy was telling me. ArmorSmith. So that's how you can scale the armor for cosplay and stuff like that. And okay, that's it. I want this, but I guess I want it. $44. I guess they got some stuff there. I don't know. Oh, they're selling those templates as well. So $44. I don't know if ArmorSmith is still being, is it being updated? Somebody told me that they weren't. Okay, requires Windows. Domain's not connected. So yeah, it's requires Windows, whatever. I don't know. Somebody was telling me that ArmorSmith isn't being supported anymore. So it is what it is. But since it does only work on Windows, I'd like to do some armor. And like I said, I've got the Doomslayer Eternal armor from Galactic Armory. But the problem is it's not scaled. And I could try to scale it in the slicer and everything, but I'd rather have a real big warm fuzzy by having either ArmorSmith or just wait until Galactic Armory comes out with theirs. So I'm kind of waiting for Galactic Armory because their updates on their armor sizing program looks really, really good. So, and that would give me something else to do. But then also there is the, let me see if I can find that. Dun, dun, dun. Galactic Armory, that's what I was looking for. On Facebook. Dun 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 dun. Galactic Armory. Let's take a look and see if they got any information. So, so they got a new helmet with Halo Bionicle kind of look thing. That looks kind of cool. That's on my bucket list, is do a big cosplay thing. So there's that. Ooh, that looks cool. They do some pretty good, good little kit cards. I've got a few of those. I'm on their Patreon. Dun, dun, dun. There's Mark V campaign. That's a cool looking helmet. Alrighty, there's that. Reading helmets you can vape in. There it is. The Dark Ages armor. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. And that's what I want to end up printing. So, yeah. And then there's a question on that. If you're not finishing around, they finally got around to it. They did a previous version of that. Now they did this. Updates of those who purchased in the past will be getting sent out now. Oh, okay, good. They do some cool stuff. Oh yeah, look at that. Mythosaur. I'd like to print that out. Fallout, yeah, whatever. But what was the, they had a video with the update on their program that they're working on, that armor sizing program. Come on. And it was a while back. Yeah, I've got a number of those Rebellion kit cards. I've got like the X-Wing, I've got the Land Speeder, or the Snow Speeder. I've got the other one. Matter of fact, I just ended up printing out one of those. I'm going to give this to my daughter, so that'll be cool. She'll like that. Done the TIE Fighter. I've done the Y-Wing. I've done that one. The big one, I want to do that, the B-Wing. Where is the video? It shows pistols, armor. You know what I'm going to do? Probably be easier. Go to seriously? Really? Search. There. That's what we want. Program. Maybe that'll pop up with something. Concerns about the web app. Form fitter. That is it. Form fitter. That's the one I want to join as well. To accurately size cosplay armor. So you learn. Yes, I agree to the rules. Be kind, courteous, no bullying, blah, 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 promotions, whatever. Okay. So form fitter on formfitter.net. See, I hang around you all. And I find more stuff. They have a blog, fax. No, that's not what I want. Got an update. Form fitter has begun tangible development. We'll spend a lot of time. This is December 2nd. Getting the look and feel of the program just right before actual coding started. We also spent some time fleshing out all the different features, splitting them into several different stages, end goal being something can try during the Kickstarter. Speaking of Kickstarter, in the full interest of transparency, I've left in all the price estimates for these different features. We plan on self-funding the demo stage, but hopefully it shows you guys the amount of money we're trying to raise to fully fleshed out program. Subsequent stages include MVP, which point the program would be ready for beta testing, advanced stage, blah, blah, blah. Find a link below. So, yeah. But it shows all this stuff, and it shows the, let's go back there, on the cost of all that stuff. Holy crow. Minimum, maximum, average. So you're looking at 20,000 for renders, avatar, camera controls, all of that stuff. That's not bad. Holy crow, that's not bad at all. You're getting a lot. Yeah. For those who've never had any experience, I mean, we used to run, I used to oversee different programs that were written for the Colorado Department of Corrections when it came to video and audio and chain of custody issues and things like that. And so there had to be certain recommendations. But getting all that, I mean, of course, the state, they get overcharged and everything, but man, that looks really good. Let me see if they got the, oh, here we go. So what you would be able to do is you'd be able to have all these different measurements for yourself, and then you would end up having armor. You could import the armor into these things, and you would be able to see how that armor fits, and you could make adjustments to it that is way better than anything that's been out so far. So yeah, it looks pretty darn good. I can't wait. Yeah, there's some cool pictures. So you can do some sizing. Again, you can look at what the armor looks like, and you can pull it over your avatar with your body measurements and everything. It just looks really, really good. You know, I hope it's as good as what I've been seeing so far. So, yeah. It's just pretty amazing. Because the Armor Smith, I mean, I still might get Armor Smith, but then I'm thinking as soon as I do that, this Kickstarter is gonna go off, and I kind of, you know, do I want to throw $44 away for Armor Smith when I know the Kickstarter on this is going to come up in 2026? I don't know. I'd like to do a cosplay, a big cosplay for Halloween this next year. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, that's what we got going on. So, oh, yeah, you guys weren't even watching what I was doing because I was kind of screwing around here. Let me show you the page on Facebook so you know what we're talking about here. So here we go. Boom. Form fitter, cosplay scaling utility. I'll throw the link there so maybe you can get to it through your Facebook. But yeah, that is going to look pretty good. And so the information we saw just off of perusing this is that they are going to have a Kickstarter, and that we saw there, that was 2 December. They're talking about doing a Kickstarter. And yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. And from what I've seen so far, yeah, that is going to be a pretty cool looking thing there. So I think I might hold off. I don't know. Part of me wants to get the Armor Smith because this might take a while. You know, it might not deliver until the end of next year, you know, for the Kickstarter and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's something that I want to wait around for. The Armor Smith, that has been a staple for quite some time for many people, and it works. And I guess it's only $44, right? You know, it's not too bad. But I'd definitely be getting that one as well. So, but yeah. So with the Doom helmet, I mean, I sized this and it came out perfect. So it even has room for padding and everything. And then, yeah. So yeah, I mean, this will be pretty good. If I can get out of it. Like I said, any smaller I wouldn't be able to get my head out. I'd have to do a lot of sanding. So again, with the armor and stuff like that, I want to be able to do a good set of armor. And I think with the Doomslayer Eternal armor, I think it'll turn out pretty good. And it's not as involved as like Warhammer armor. There's room for, you know, a little bit of play and things like that. So I think it'll be a little bit more forgiving than like with Warhammer huge armor. And 3D print this stuff. So there's that. But then I saw some videos of people that are 3D printing armor using TPU, which is boom, flexible, malleable. Just that looks pretty wild as well. So anyway, but this is the old style helmet of the original armor that they ended up doing. So there's that. Let's see. What do we end up getting? My wireless mic is like blinking. So, but it's still working. Let me try to switch, because I think that needs to charge. Testing, 1, 2. I think we're still doing good. DJI makes some good products, even though their drones are going to get banned in the United States. So, it is what it is. So for those of you that are wondering about the Doomslayer, so on the galacticarmory.net, they've updated that. So I've got the old one, but this is the new one. So they got a newer and different size, different version of a helmet. So you can see that there. But the armor looks pretty, oh man, that looks cool. That looks really cool. And the other thing I want to end up doing is I want to be able to, have a little bit of added height. So either I'm going to get some boots and add on some big soles on them to add like another 7-8 inches or something, because I'm 6'2", and try to get me up to 7 feet. I think this would be a really good cosplay armor. But look at that. Probably be able to print that off in one go. That would take a little bit longer. But it's not, it's not as involved as like a full Warhammer 3D printed armor. So I thought this would be a good thing to dip my toe into and, print out a big giant rifle or whatever. I've got a version of a rifle. Like this one here. Well, let me show you, because you're not going to be able to see it on the small screen. Duh. But this type of rifle, it's basically a 50 caliber. And I can't remember why I ended up getting this, but this would be a cool rifle. And again, it's supposed to be like a 50 caliber, and this is probably the next big thing that I'm going to print out. So that'll be pretty cool. That's the next thing on the list for big stuff. So yeah, we got one version of the helmet. Then we'll do the big gun and we'll see how that looks. And then we'll finish that up with the Doomslayer armor. Of course, this is the new armor. And again, that's a lot more forgiving than, like some other armor, Not bad, not bad. I was thinking about doing some LEDs in the helmet for this one. I like this helmet though. But the good thing is, I could do this one as well. Just print them both, So yeah, color scheme's not that bad. And I'm going to make like a paint booth, a larger paint booth, because my small one just doesn't, it's not going to work. So I'd have to do something big. So I'm going to do some plastic sheeting and see if I can't make a paint booth that I could actually do larger things, because what I've got now just isn't, it's very problematic. So if I do like a big plastic paint booth type of thing, then what I would be able to do, and I wish my phone was, I could add my phone. Let me see if I can, maybe if I restart it, maybe it'll pop back up. But yeah, the Doomslayer armor would be pretty cool. That would be really good. So I'm hoping that that's what I want to get done before Halloween. this next year, Halloween. But then I also have the Ripper and the Psycho Mask from Borderlands. I've got the rifle that is done with that. And I've actually got the orange pants that I need to start cell shading. So that way, if I don't get the big armor, at least I'll have something going on with that. But still kind of nervous about doing cosplay. Dressing up for Halloween, I'm 59 years old. God, last time I dressed up for Halloween, I was what, 13, 12? So I don't know. I'm a little nervous. This being the guy that was in the Army overseas for 12 years, and yeah, I don't know. No, it's still not showing the phone. Placeholder camera? Oh, good Lord. No, I don't want that. Let's go back. I have the option so you can always have a bounding box. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry about that. Okay. Playing around with my camera thing here and it's still not working. Let me go back to settings and we will go to no air. Oh, it was almost. No. Airplane continuity, that was it. Continuity camera. We'll turn that off. We'll turn that back on. And then oh, I think I got it. Yes, I've got my camera. Okay. So let me go through. I know this is kind of weird. And it's got that weird focusing thing. Let me show you what, we'll see how this works. I don't know how well you can see all this. On that. Here is. I don't know how well this. Red. It's about 4, I guess, 4 feet across. And then but anyway, that's what we're doing on. We'll see how that goes. So I don't know how well that came out, but, and for some reason, this thing ends up looking and kind of zooming in. I don't know why it does that. So let's see if this, see how it zooms out. I don't know why it does that. I mean, it's a good camera view. It's a good camera view. It's got great clarity and everything, but yeah, I just don't know why it automatically tries to zoom in on that stuff. I don't understand that. So I don't know. Anyway, if you know why, now that this is working, Let me try looking and seeing. It always does that zoom thing. That's just weird. Instead of having like a set focal, it like kind of zooms in or whatever. See how it automatically zooms in? It's looking for, I guess it's like a smart whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing. So, I don't know. But it's could be doable. See, but now it's not. Oh, okay. It's because I had my phone down. I mean, it's a real good picture. Picture quality's good. I just don't know why it's zooming in all the time. Okay. Anyway, that's what we got going on. So I think we're going to end up doing, since we spent a couple of hours kind of screwing around. Obviously, the 3 camera views that we have this one, we have the one on the desk over there, and then we have the view of the desk. That's going to come out pretty good. And when we do the painting stuff, we got the view of me sitting there. That should be pretty decent. You know, not too bad. I mean, it doesn't have all the cool lighting that we have like over here, but yeah, not bad, not bad, not bad. So yeah, that's what I got going on. So it would be nice if I could get this thing to work so it doesn't zoom in, it just has the wide field of view on the camera. And again, being wireless would be awesome, but we'll see how that goes. Probably some little setting and whatever. I'll figure that out later. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and call this good because this was just supposed to be a test. I didn't even think that we'd get anybody on the stream because of the time that it is in the United States versus here in Korea. So appreciate Piled, and let's see, who else do we have here? We had Piled, we had One Bridge 11, and then we also had Chill and Connect was on here. So we got maybe 1 or 2 other people that are here that joined the stream, so that's kind of cool. The one thing you can do for me is to like and subscribe to the channel, because we'll continue doing this because I'm retired and I do 3D printing stuff, and I'm going to start doing some back into miniature painting and painting stuff that, you know, kind of like this thing that we ended up making. And yeah, this one here, this is going to be good too. You know, coming out of the portal, the Warhammer, that's kind of cool. But check my YouTube page. It also has some videos and streams of showing how I did that using the slicer program on Creality Print, but other slicing programs you could probably do it as well. Simple, easy. If I can do it, hell, you all can do it. But to keep me motivated, you got to like and subscribe to the channel. That would be the best thing that you could do. So with that, we're going to do the obligatory outro, and here is that page right here. A bunch of people bought me coffee. Want to do that? That's cool. If not, totally understand. The best thing that you could do is take 2 seconds, hit that like and subscribe button. That would make me happy. If you want to contact me about cool stuff that I don't know about, stuff to make me smarter, or if I said something stupid, you can correct me. Send me an email at officialthevariedlife@gmail.com. I always answer my email. Might take 1 or 2 days, but I always answer. That is a guarantee that I always answer, unless I'm shed this mortal coil. So, and whether you just want to say hi, or it's 3D printing, or questions about how we retired here in Korea, I love to share that information. That's also on the YouTube page, so we got that going on. Yeah, so that's it. We're done. I'm running out of stuff to ramble on. So with that, we'll see you on the next video. Peace. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.